about restoring median household income is down, labor force participation is down, food stamps are up, poverty rate is up. If things are so great, how come they're so lousy?
I think we've made tremendous progress, but there's much more work to do. That's what the president has always said, that we have to. The American businesses, American workers are doing the right thing. Washington needs to help them.
All right, Chris Wallace there going at it with the top White House advisor, Dan Pfeiffer, on the state of the economy, which is issue number one right now. The question we asked, just how weak is it? David Asman, Fox Business Network. How are you, David? Good
I'm
day
doing
to you.
well, Bill.
How
Good
bad
day.
is it? I mean, how would you characterize it?
It depends where you're looking. We have two economies, Bill. We've talked about this before. We have the Wall Street economy, which has been doing gangbusters over the past 12 months. And then we have the Main Street economy, which has not been doing well at all. And the president is right. The president has talked about that gap between the rich and the poor. He's right about that, but it's his policies that are largely to blame. We have higher regulations. We have more taxes and more complexity in the tax rates. And, of course, we have Obamacare. All of these things hit the small businesses hardest, and they're the ones that affect the economy that we all deal with the most. The big guys, they have their lawyers, they have their lobbyists, they have their accountants. They can afford all the regulations. They can afford all the new taxes, and they have those very low interest rates, which help them, but don't necessarily help the little guy.
The other thing Wallace talked about with Pfeiffer, household income is down, David. Right. Labor force participation rate is down. Right. Poverty level in the last 5.5 years is up. And there are new concerns after a bad end on Wall Street last week, right?
Right. Well, again, Wall Street maybe the rest of the economy is beginning to catch up with Wall Street. We'll wait and see how this downturn goes. But look what happens. The thing is, the president's always talking about how great it is that Wall Street's doing well, but sometimes Wall Street does well when they fire people. Macy's, on January 9th, the same day that they fired 2,500 workers, their stock jumped 7%. The same is happening with companies like Walmart. There's a whole list of companies, J.P. Morgan Chase, Boeing, American Express, that have hired thousands and thousands of workers, and yet their stock is way up. The people who own stock like it when there's firing going on because it means there's less expenses and more profit. But it is terrible for the little guy. And of course, labor force participation. A lot of people just give up. What happens to the people who are fired? They just leave the workforce entirely because they're so frustrated.
Quickly, one other thing Pfeiffer said yesterday, and this is a quote now. It's 2014, David.
Right.
I think it's important to remember this president inherited the worst economic situation since the Great Depression. It's 2014. You wonder if the president hits on that tomorrow night or lets it go. What's your guess?
You wonder if anybody will listen to that. I suspect that even though the president has been touting this line for really since he came into office, even he realizes it's getting a little stale. It's his economy. He has to deal with it. There is a little bit of good news, though, which is that companies are tighter and leaner and meaner than they have ever been in my lifetime. I've been following this for a long time. They're ready to go. All they need is deregulations, lower and simpler taxes, and this country could take off like it never has before.
Great to have you on. Thank you, David.
Good to be here.
CNFBN. All right, David
Absolutely.
Asman. Thank you.